can probably a little bit smaller. Again, hold C and just with the transformer to slide the transformer tool onto the curve. This way it will snap back to the curve and can move it freely. So just selecting the end face of the object, selecting the curve, and this time we use 25 divisions for the extrude operation. So let's delete the history so I can move it freely without any distortion if we decide to do something with the curve later. Obviously we need to scale it a little bit down because it's too thick. It's a little bit smaller. Also we don't need the bottom faces, so just get rid of them. You can just fill the bottom cap, just going to mesh and fill hole. This will again, now we delete the history again. Also you can hide the curve, just hit Ctrl and H, this will hide the curve. So for now we don't need it. So we can group those and center the pivot. So probably the leg is a little bit too weak. So let's say it should be around 1 meter. So if you remember, 5 Maya units equals around 1 meter. So I'm making the leg 1 meter long and just going to duplicate it now. Just Ctrl D. So to create the second leg for the bench. Just trying to figure out how long it should be. The easiest way to do it is to look at some real-world benches and just see how long is the distance between the two legs. But I'm going to just do it by eye here. Just select the whole group, so just don't move only the leg and not the back support. So this seems fine, so I'm going to start creating the actual planks for the bench. So make them a little bit wider than the legs and just choose a random thickness, not too thick. Again, just I'm looking by reference here. Just place it just outside the edge, hit Ctrl D to duplicate, and now we can hit Shift and D to duplicate again with the same transformations. Again, duplicating the last plank and start to use it as the back of the bench. Still, it needs a little bit more rotation and translation to get it right onto position, so it fits the curve of the back support, right? So I'm doing this with the other planks for the back, just duplicating and rotating and transforming it so it fits the back a little bit better. Just some minor transformations. It's always good to nudge it bit by bit, just not rushing it too much, so you can get it right. Obviously that's a little bit too much, so I need to push it a little bit out. Also the bottom ones need to be fixed a little bit more. Probably rotate it just a slight bit more. So that seems fine. So now we can just start creating the supports, the intersection supports for the bench. So this will be the first support that we're going to place on the leg of the bench. That seems the right position. And let's duplicate it across to the other leg. Let's use this plank from the seat of the bench as our intersection support. Scale just fit into place between those two supports that we've created. So that pretty much finishes the bench. We can select it, and obviously we need to group it before we can duplicate it. So we can go hit Ctrl G, we'll go to edit group. So when we group it, we can center the pivot and just duplicate it and start positioning the benches around. Obviously, yeah, I've missed the supports that we've just created. So just back up a little bit and include the supports inside that group. So select the whole bench and then group it and center the pivot. Also we can move the pivot point holding D and just holding D and V and snapping it to the bottom of the page. So now we can duplicate the bench on the top level, the top platform, and just placing it right next to the wall between the two windows on the right building, the right middle ground building. Just position probably we can place two benches. This is the good part. You have several different props. You can just try different positions. If they work, if they not, just delete the duplicate bench and place somewhere else. So I'm just place that bench between those two windows, just checking if it fits right next to the ground, the bottom bench, and I'm going to place it right in front of the foreground left building. And now on the right side I'm going to start creating the trash bin. So I'm just creating a polygon cylinder. We can fix the scale later. I just can select the top faces, go into our frame to make sure I select only the top faces and delete them, and place a loop on the top of the bin. Now we can select all of the edges, the faces on the bin, and just extrude them, but obviously we need to turn down the divisions that we've placed before to 1. So place the divisions to 1 and just extrude the faces out. Obviously we need to fit the pivot point on the bottom now, so we can position it more correctly. There seems that there is some kind of problem. I think it's the geometry. Yeah, the bottom on the bottom point, the bottom vertex of the geometry is a little bit off. So we can hold V and just move it into the y-axis, snap it into the y-axis to the other points. So now we can snap the trash bin to the bottom plane, so it fits perfectly to the ground. Let's scale it down to around what a real world trash bin will look like beside the bench. So taking the top vertices and extrude them scale them a little bit out, so it's just not a plain cylinder with a hole in it. It's more like a cone shape.